You think you can always tell when a woman is manipulating you? Let me hit you with a hard truth, my friend. The most powerful manipulations are the ones you never notice. Because they don't come with flashing signs, they don't sound like lies, and they don't feel like traps. They come wrapped in sweetness, in silence, in that one look that makes you question yourself. Picture this. You're sitting across from her at dinner. She leans in, smiles, and says, "I just wish you were more like," and she doesn't even finish the sentence. Instantly, your brain is working overtime. You start competing with a ghost, trying to prove yourself to some imaginary standard she's dangling in front of you. That's not love. That's strategy. Or maybe she doesn't say anything at all. She goes quiet, checks her phone, sips her drink, and lets you drown in the silence. And you? You scramble to fill the gap, to win back her attention, to apologize for something you didn't even do. That's not random. That's a test. And here's the brutal truth. Most men fail. Not because they're weak, not because they're dumb, but because they don't even realize it's happening. They think they're being nice, caring, attentive, when in reality, they're walking straight into her control. This video is not about bashing women. It's about opening your eyes. Because the second you recognize these hidden tactics, the power shifts back to you. Suddenly, her silence won't shake you. Her guilt trips won't land. Her comparisons won't cut deep. So buckle up, because what I'm about to show you isn't the cute dating advice you hear on social media. This is the dark psychology of female manipulation. And if you don't learn it now, you'll keep falling into the same traps over and over again. Silence. It's the sharpest weapon she'll ever use, and she doesn't even have to raise her voice. You've probably felt it before. 1 minute, she's laughing, texting back instantly, leaning in close. The next, she's cold, quiet, suddenly busy. You ask if something's wrong, and she hits you with that classic line, "I'm fine." But here's the secret. She's not fine. She's testing you. She wants to see how you react to the absence of her warmth. Will you panic? Will you blow up her phone? Will you beg for an explanation? Every move you make in that silence reveals exactly how much power she has over you. Think about it. Silence forces you to fill the void. It makes you replay every conversation, every text, every tiny detail, wondering what you did wrong. That's not an accident. That's a psychological trap. And while you're spiraling, she's sitting back, taking notes. The crazy part? Most men mistake this silence for distance. They think she's pulling away. But in reality, she's pulling strings. She's watching whether you'll stay composed, hold your frame, or crumble into neediness. Let me give you an example. A guy dates a woman for 3 weeks. Things are great. Then suddenly, radio silence. No texts. No calls. He panics, double texts, triple texts, even shows up uninvited. Guess what? Game over. Respect gone. He just proved how easy it is to control him without saying a single word. The silence isn't the problem. Your reaction is. A strong man recognizes it for what it is, a test, and he doesn't flinch. He keeps moving, keeps living, keeps his value intact. Because the moment you learn to stay calm in the quiet, you strip away her favorite weapon. Suddenly, silence has no power. And that's when she realizes you're not like the rest. Sometimes manipulation doesn't come in the form of silence or coldness. Sometimes it comes dressed in sweetness. The innocent act. Picture this. You're explaining something important. Your work, your goals, your boundaries. And she tilts her head, blinks those wide eyes, and says, "Oh, I didn't know. I'm just not good at that kind of thing." Harmless, right? Wrong. That's the oldest trick in the book. Playing innocent is a way of lowering your guard. It makes you underestimate her. You think she's too kind, too naive, too gentle to ever manipulate you. But in reality, the sweet and harmless mask is often a strategy. Because while you're busy protecting her, she's subtly steering the situation in her favor. Think of the times she's said, "Can you handle this for me? "I'm just not sure I can." Or when she makes a mistake and brushes it off with, "Oops, silly me." That's not always clumsiness, it's control. It shifts responsibility to you while she walks away untouched. Here's the kicker. The innocent act creates an illusion of vulnerability. And men, especially good men, rush into rescue. They invest more time, more energy, more resources because they believe she needs them. But the truth? She knows exactly what she's doing. I'll give you a real-life example. A guy once told me how his girlfriend didn't know how to pay bills online. Every month, she'd say, "It's so confusing. Can you just do it for me?" He thought he was being helpful. 3 years later, she had no clue about finances, but complete control over his. Why? Because he'd been trained by her innocence to take on all the responsibility. The innocent act is powerful because it hides the manipulation under charm. It's not aggressive. It's not confrontational. It's subtle. And that's why most men never notice it until it's too late. The key is simple. Pay attention to patterns. If her innocence always leaves you with more work, more guilt, or more responsibility, then it's not innocence. It's strategy. Imagine this. You're sitting on the couch, exhausted after a long day. You finally kick your feet up, maybe crack open a drink, maybe flip on the game. Then she walks in, arms crossed, lips pressed tight. You ask, "What's wrong?" And she sighs. That heavy, calculated sigh. "Nothing. I'm fine." But the silence that follows is deafening. You're not watching the game anymore. You're watching her. That's the beginning of the guilt trip. It's not about what she says. It's about how she makes you feel. You start replaying the day in your head. Did I forget something? Did I say something wrong? Why is she upset? And then, right on cue, she drops the line. "I just wish you cared more." Or, "If you really loved me, you'd." See how fast the script flips? Suddenly, you're the bad guy. She's the victim. And the only way to fix it, the only way to bring the peace back, is to bend. To do what she wanted all along. This is the genius of the guilt trip. It doesn't demand. It doesn't argue. It bleeds you slowly, until you're apologizing for things you didn't even do. I once knew a man whose girlfriend would use this move every Friday night. She'd say, "Go out with your friends if you want. I'll just be here alone." Sounds supportive, right? But she'd say it with that tone, that look, that weight of guilt. Every time, he'd cancel his plans. He thought he was choosing her, but in reality, she was choosing for him. Here's the truth. Guilt is emotional currency. The more you pay into it, the more control she gains. And once she learns that it works, she'll never stop using it. The trick is not to defend yourself against every accusation. The trick is to see the pattern. Ask yourself, is she upset because I genuinely did something wrong? Or is she upset because I didn't give her what she wanted? The guilt trip works only when you accept the ticket, refuse to ride, and the manipulation loses its power. You're sitting across from her at dinner, proud of yourself because you picked the restaurant, you made the reservation, you're treating her like a queen. She's smiling, sipping her drink. Then out of nowhere, she drops it. You know, Jessica's boyfriend always surprises her with flowers. It's so sweet. Or worse. She pulls out her phone, scrolls, and says, "Look at this. Sarah's husband just took her on a weekend trip. Isn't that romantic?" And in that moment, everything you just did vanishes. The dinner, the effort, the thought, it's invisible. All you can see is the shadow of another man she's holding up as the measuring stick. That's the comparison game. It's not an open attack. It's a subtle cut. A psychological jab designed to trigger insecurity and push you into overdrive. You start asking yourself, am I not enough? Should I be doing more? And here's the dangerous part. Most men respond exactly how she wants. They double down. They start overspending, overgiving, overproving, trying to outshine the ghost of another man. But no matter what you do, the bar keeps moving. The finish line is always one step further. I remember a friend of mine, good guy, hardworking, His girlfriend used to constantly compare him to her ex. He was so spontaneous. He always kept things exciting. My friend took the bait. He started planning trips, maxing out credit cards, throwing money at excitement. And you know what happened? She left him anyway, because the issue was never about trips or excitement. The issue was respect. Here's the truth she'll never admit. Comparisons are a tool. A way to remind you that she has options, that you could be replaced, that there's always someone better out there. It's manipulation disguised as casual conversation. The way to win this game isn't to play harder, it's to step back. When she compares, don't beg, don't compete, don't perform. Look her dead in the eye and make it clear. If you want what he gave you, you should still be with him. Imagine this. One night, she's all over you, laughing, touching your arm, calling you her everything. You feel like the luckiest man alive. But the very next day, silence. Her tone is cold. She's distant. Suddenly, the warmth is gone, and you're left asking yourself, what did I do wrong? That's not an accident. That's the emotional roller coaster. A deliberate push and pull designed to keep you hooked, confused, and chasing the highs she doles out like a drug. Think about it. When she's sweet and affectionate, your brain floods with dopamine, you're flying. But when she withdraws, ignores you, or gets sharp with her words, you crash. And what do you do next? You scramble to get the good version of her back. You text more, call more, bend over backwards. Anything to get her smiling at you again. I knew a guy in college who went through this exact ride. His girlfriend would vanish for hours, not answer calls. And when he confronted her, she'd flip it. You're too needy. You're smothering me. But the moment he pulled away, she'd show up at his dorm with cookies, acting like the perfect girlfriend. He couldn't see it at the time, but she had him trained, like Pavlov's dog. Every up and down made him more addicted. Here's the harsh reality. Women who use this tactic understand something most men don't. Consistency doesn't hook you. Unpredictability does. The thrill, the chaos, the not knowing where you stand. It keeps you emotionally invested, even when it's draining the life out of you. So how do you win? You stop writing. The next time she goes cold, don't chase. The next time she flips hot and cold, don't reward it with extra effort. Stay grounded. Stay steady. Let her see that your emotions don't bend to her mood swings. Because once she realizes she can't yank you around with silence, affection, or drama, the roller coaster breaks down. And suddenly, the ride isn't fun anymore. Picture this. You finally get a weekend off. You've been grinding all week, dead tired, and all you want is a quiet Saturday. Maybe catch the game, order some wings, and relax. But the moment you say, I just need a day for myself, her face changes. She sighs. She looks away. And then it comes. Wow, I just thought spending time with me mattered to you. Now, suddenly, you're the bad guy? Not because you did anything wrong, but because she flipped the script and made your need for space feel like betrayal. That's the guilt trip in action. Men underestimate how powerful this is. A single disappointed look, a passive-aggressive comment, or a reminder of everything she's done for you can twist your emotions like a knife. Before you even realize it, you're apologizing for simply wanting balance. I knew a buddy who fell hard for this trap. Every time he wanted to hang out with his friends, his girlfriend would hit him with, I guess I'm just not enough for you. At first, he laughed it off. But over time, he stopped seeing his boys, stopped doing hobbies he loved, just to avoid the guilt. She never had to forbid him. She just had to make him feel bad enough. Here's the cold truth. Guilt is emotional blackmail. It's not about love, and it's not about care. It's about control. When a woman knows she can make you fold just by acting wounded, she'll use it again and again. The antidote: clarity. When she tries to guilt you, don't over-explain, don't defend, and don't apologize for healthy boundaries. A calm response like, I understand you feel that way, but I still need this time for me, ends the game. Because the moment you stop letting guilt dictate your choices, you take back your power. And men who keep their power, they're the ones women respect, whether she admits it or not. So after dodging guilt trips for weeks, my buddy thought he was in the clear. He learned to stand firm, not cave to emotional blackmail, and finally got back to living life on his own terms. But here's the twist. When guilt stops working, another test shows up. And this one cuts deeper than words. It's the comparison game. You're sitting at dinner with her, finally thinking things are smooth, when out of nowhere she drops it. You know, Jessica's boyfriend always plans the most romantic dates. I wish you were more like that. That's not a compliment to him. That's a dagger aimed straight at you. Because the second she compares you to another man, it plants a seed of insecurity. Am I not good enough? Do I need to prove myself? Here's the danger. Most men take the bait. They'll scramble to level up, overspend on gifts, or bend over backward to outshine the imaginary competition. And the cruel part? The goalposts move. Once you match that other guy, she'll find a new standard, a new name, a new way to make you chase approval that never actually comes. I'll never forget the night my buddy finally cracked. After hearing about how other guys treated their girlfriends, he blew a month's paycheck on a surprise trip. And you know what? She loved it for a week. Then the comparison started again, this time about something else. He wasn't building respect. He was digging himself into a hole of endless proving. The truth is, comparisons are meant to test your frame. If she can rattle your confidence by mentioning another man, she knows she can pull your strings. But a man who holds his ground, who hears it and simply says, "Good for him, but I'm not him," proves he's untouchable. Respect doesn't come from trying to be like that guy. Respect comes when you stand firm in being this guy. The one who doesn't flinch, doesn't compete, and doesn't need outside validation to know his worth. And when you refuse to play the comparison game, that's when the game ends. After the comparisons stopped rattling him, my buddy thought he'd finally cracked the code. He wasn't caving to guilt. He wasn't running himself ragged trying to outdo other men. And for once, he felt steady. But women don't just stop testing when one tactic fails. That's when another one slides in, quieter, sharper, harder to detect. It's the strategic silence. Picture this. You're texting her like normal, conversation flowing, and suddenly, radio silence. Hours go by, then a day. You start replaying everything in your head. Did I say something wrong? Did I miss a signal? Is she losing interest? That's exactly the point. Strategic silence is designed to make you question yourself. And the moment you break, sending 3 follow-up texts, double calling, or worse, apologizing for something you don't even know you did, you've just handed her the power. I remember one night my buddy called me, pacing his apartment. "Man, she hasn't replied in 2 days. Should I just show up at her place?" That's how far the silence got to him. And that's when I had to snap him out of it. Listen, if she's pulling back to test you, chasing harder just proves her point. You're showing her she can control your emotions without saying a single word. The silence isn't random, it's a measuring stick. She's watching to see if you collapse, if you beg for attention, if you can't handle the void. Because a man who panics when she goes quiet, that's a man she can steer any way she wants. But here's the shift. Strong men don't fill the silence. They hold it. Instead of reacting, they stay calm, stay focused on their own life, and let her be the one to circle back. And when she does, she realizes he's not a boy scrambling for approval. He's a man whose world doesn't stop just because hers goes mute. The strategic silence is only deadly if you play into it. Stay grounded, stay patient, and remember, silence only controls you if you let it. So here's where my buddy's story comes full circle. He walked through every silent battlefield, guilt trips, comparisons, strategic silence. And at first, he stumbled. He chased, he caved, he questioned himself. But over time, he learned the truth. These weren't random mood swings. They were tests. And not the kind you pass with flowers or apologies, but the kind you pass with strength, composure, and self-respect. That's the hidden psychology most men never catch. Women don't test you because they hate you. They test you because they're wired to look for strength. Not muscles, not money, strength of mind. The ability to hold your frame when everything around you is trying to knock it off balance. And here's the punchline. When you stand tall in the face of these tactics, she doesn't lose interest, she gains respect. Because respect isn't earned in the easy moments. It's forged in the silence, in the provocations, in the little games she plays to see if you're truly who you claim to be. So ask yourself, are you the man who crumbles under guilt, who competes against imaginary rivals, who panics in the silence? Or are you the man who stands firm, who knows his worth, and who passes the tests without even breaking a sweat? If you're ready to stop falling into the traps and start becoming the man women can't help but respect, then stick with me. Because this channel is where I break it all down. The hidden psychology, the unspoken rules, the dark truths no one else will tell you. Hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, and drop a comment if you've ever caught yourself in one of these tests. Let's be real, every guy has. But the difference between staying stuck and leveling up, it starts with awareness. And you just unlocked it. Stay sharp, stay strong, and remember, respect isn't given, it's tested. And now, you know how to pass.